gift of your Son, Jesus Christ, who rose from the dead and redeemed humankind. Fill us with the fire of the Holy Spirit, that we may be faithful disciples and enthusiastic witnesses of our faith. Hallelujah. Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Amen.
Amen.
So on March 21st, for the Department on Aging, I rescinded the motion from March 13th, 2024, as the employee or the person did not accept the position. That motion had read, approved hiring Sarah Knife to the position of full-time recreation education assistant, be effective April 1st, 2024, at the rate of $16.84 per hour with a one-year probationary period. That offer of employment was contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions. And then further, I accepted the retirement resignation of Kathy Hartz, full-time driver, to be effective April 12th, 2024, and I granted permission to advertise for the position of full-time driver. This position will remain posted until filled.
Next few items, the minutes from January 18th, Tim, you were not here for.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon,
I'm going to abstain.
Commissioner Boyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier.
Right.
And then the one for the 23rd,
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon,
Aye.
Commissioner Boyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier.
Right.
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning. Okay, today's financials include appropriations transfer from the Commissioner's miscellaneous account to the Treasurer's Office contract services account to pay for increased investment fees. There's a supplemental from Community Development in their grant special expense account to prepare for the encumbrance for the ACE Charter School grant. There's a cash transfers from the general fund to the Sheriff's Office Law Enforcement Block Grant Fund for the local match amount on the Bureau of Justice Services and Security Strategies Rural Body Worn Camera Grant, along with a $34,000 cash advance in order to pay the full $152,000 purchase price. The general fund will be reimbursed the $34,000 once the reimbursement portion is received. There are then and now encumbrances from Water Resources to the Treasurer State of Ohio for NPDES permit fees for Plymouth Acres, Burton Lakes, and Aquila Village wastewater treatment plants, which were not previously encumbered. Among the vouchers are $113,370.52 from the engineer's office to Morton Salt Incorporated for road salt, and $48,206 from Water Resources to Valley Ford Truck for a 2024 Ford F-250 4x4 regular cab replacement pickup truck. The 2008 F-350 that it's replacing will be sold at the county auction.
Good. All right. Make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyle,
Yes.
Commissioner
Right.
Spillier.
While Adrian was up here, I asked him to present to the board where we're at with regards to the cost allocation program. Decisions.
Okay, so just to give just a little bit of history, the Geauga County Central Services Cost Allocation Plan has been around probably since at least the mid-1990s, as far as I can tell. The cost allocation plan is a requirement to receive federal funds in certain departments. This is part of the Codified Financial Regulations, Part 200. Central services costs are also defined in the Ohio Administrative Code under Rule 5101, colon 9-1-10, and can include costs that are incurred by other county agencies such as the county auditor, county prosecutor, or county treasurer. Expense categories that are currently being allocated through our cost allocation include building capital, equipment capital, insurance, being property, equipment, and liability insurance, professional services, postage, maintenance, data processing, prosecutor's office, commissioner's office, communications, records management, county treasurer, and county auditor. Departments that currently receive a cost allocation charge include the public defender, aging, 911, Water Resources, Solid Waste, JFS, Public Assistance and Children's Services, the Engineer's Office for Vehicle and Equipment Insurance only, and Metzenbaum for Property Insurance only. Transit had paid as well, but now with the new Lake Tran agreement, they're not paying that anymore. This year, last year, we'd already had a late start due to the prolonged contract negotiations with Maximus on the new consulting contract for the cost allocation plan. So the delayed release was expected because we were getting a late start. Normally, we accept and set up the cost allocation in the fall. Last cost allocation that was done was regarding 2021 expenses for the budget year 2023, so it's like 2 years in arrears. For 2024, we gathered 2022 expenses. During 2023, we transmitted those to Maximus, they develop it, and we have it in place in time for 2024. We were made aware that Maximus was still waiting for information from the auditor on January 31st of this year. After inquiring as to the progress of the plan, multiple emails were sent by Tate Anderson, me, and Linda Breheny to inquire about the information for which Maximus was still waiting. To my knowledge, at no point was Maximus or our office contacted to discuss any issues with the cost allocation. A cost allocation informational item appeared on the ADP agenda for the March 12th meeting. At this meeting, Auditor Walder indicated that based on his interpretation of the Ohio Revised Code, that only the ADP board can charge for their services. It was explained that there is a difference between charging for requested services through service calls and allocating expenses of the department to various benefiting agencies. Departments are not being charged double for their services and receive credits to their cost allocations for any direct charges that departments are required to pay. Prosecutor Flays also took issue with the allocation, saying that his services were required by statute and only he can enter into agreements with other entities, and the proceeds have to be used for the operations of his office. Prosecutor Flays counseled Auditor Walder to not provide the requested information for the allocation, and that his office would also not provide the information. Prosecutor Flays indicated that although the information in the request could be considered public information, subject to requests, that reports do not need to be created to meet them. Other alternatives at this point have been discussed with Maximus to complete the allocation that include expenses from ADP and the prosecutor's office and are not contingent on the receipt of responses from them. We have also reached out to outside legal firms to research regarding the claims made by the auditor and the prosecutor and are awaiting a response.
Thanks for that update. So explain to me how Maximus, in the years past, what their services, we've been in contract with them for how long now?
They have been since the early 2000s. I don't know exactly when we started with them, but we've had two other firms before them. But this did go back at least into the mid-1990s.
Okay, and the service that they would provide to the county was they would give you the estimate allocations from each different agency and each different department and break that up with...
Right, so basically what the allocation is doing is it's taking the costs of the departments that are under the general fund and allocating those to departments that benefit from the operations of the general fund.
And then the general fund would then turn around and within the budgeting process, distribute those funds to each.
Right, we invoice the departments quarterly.
Okay, so like for JFS, for example.
Right, so JFS actually, they are on we bill them twice a year for their charges.
Okay, and that would include anything from, like all the things you listed. It could be their insurance, could be their...
Correct. Yeah, there are some that and I wasn't here obviously when a lot of those things got set up, so some things people are charged for, some things people are not. So
it'd be like maintenance, but it sounds like the one that the auditor and the prosecutor, I guess, are both saying, or maybe the prosecutor is saying something different, but is just their data processing.
Right, so Maximus reaches out to me for reports that I give to them in regards to the expenses for all the departments, as well as payroll for all the departments. And there are certain things that Tate Anderson from Maximus reaches out to the departments directly in order to get information about. So like the information he would request from ADP would have included the number of phones, the number of help desk tickets that are created, different information like that. The prosecutor, I think he reaches out to them to find out what percentage of the assistant county prosecutor's time is spent working with the departments as opposed to doing other things, whether that's court stuff or what. But so that's the information essentially that that they've declined to provide us with.
Okay, so it isn't just data processing, it's everything from the prosecutor.
Right, it's everything from the prosecutor and
Like his
basically
services
ADP
in
stuff
general.
from Auditor Walter. Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So essentially, if I got this right, the prosecutor saying that he should be directly invoicing each one of everybody for his services.
If he chooses to do that, he should be the one that contracts or sets that up with.
What the prosecutor said at the ADP meeting, I just finished watching it again this morning, is that he believes that because his job is statutory, that his time and efforts should not be billed to anybody.
Okay.
Except unless in cases of places where he can, per the Ohio Revised Code, have a contract with them to provide their service.
Okay. Okay, so he's saying flat out there should be no.
From the prosecutors, there should be no, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Because otherwise would it be considered a double billing to that department?
For prosecutor services?
Well, he's saying no services at all, or no billing at all for services. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
From the
Yeah.
prosecutor?
From the
Yeah.
prosecutor's office.
So he wouldn't be getting refunded at all?
Correct.
Okay. But then,
That was the concern that was expressed by Auditor Walter for ADP services because they do charge various governmental entities and political subdivisions for his services. But we have a very limited number of departments that we actually charge that for. And we are providing a credit if there are direct bills that ADP did for any of those departments, those are credited against what their charges are going to be. So like for solid waste, if we have that's a good example because that's where we kind of discovered that some of that was happening and corrected it. We're allocating solid waste for ADP services based on the number of phones, data connections that they have for their computers, service calls and stuff like that. But ADP is also charging them for those. So whatever ADP charged them for that, we then credit or take that off of what their allocation
I
is.
see, okay. But like the other type of things, so, professional services, postage, maintenance, insurance, equipment capital, building capital, communications, records management, county, those type of things, would those continue, was there agreement that those type of things continue to be addressed? Because nothing's free, right? I mean, there's still gonna have to be, somebody's gonna have to
Correct.
address
So,
and pay it, right?
so yeah, a vast majority of the charges we are able to allocate based on the reports that I send to Tate Anderson at Maximus.
Okay,
So the only two things that this would affect data processing
Okay.
and maybe communications and prosecutor's office.
okay.
So
Are you able to provide to me what the numbers, like say for example, from last year, could I see what?
Yeah.
Do you have
I can give you
some
what
type
the
of
allocations
breakdown?
are. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, Tate provides us with breakdowns every year of what all the charges are and everything.
Yeah,
Because he allocates to all county departments, but we only choose to charge certain departments, the ones that benefit from the federal programs where you have to have a cost allocation.
gotcha.
In general, these are outside funds that are levy funded or enterprise funds, like water resources and transit, that also get federal money. So that's the main impetus for who's being charged. But everything gets allocated so that it's a fair allocation for all the departments that actually have to pay it.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but I can provide you
Yeah, that'd be
with a
helpful.
breakdown, sure.
Just so I can wrap my head around what we're talking about, dollar and cents.
Sure.
But as far as the other type, it sounds, as far as the other type of, the other forms of payment and information, like the insurance, for example, or maintenance, those aren't being provided to you as well? Or was it just strictly with
No,
data
we-
processing?
Yeah, it was just with the data processing,
Okay.
just with prosecutor's services.
Okay,
The things like the property insurance and liability insurance and all of those things, those are all handled
Okay.
through separate information requests.
okay,
So,
okay,
yeah.
okay. All right, well, we can continue to research that and discuss that further.
Yeah, I'll get you that information, and we'll probably update you as well once we hear back from outside counsel, so,
Okay.
as to what they have.
And the reason why we have to get outside counsel to review it is why?
Because the prosecutor has already stated what his position is on it
Mm-hmm.
by not providing the
Okay.
information.
And he's already
So
advising.
We felt the only way to get unbiased opinions was to,
Okay.
seek outside counsel on that.
Yeah. And you said in this report that is the prosecutor already representing the auditor on this, or advising the auditor on this, or what was that comment? Or was that just a comment?
That was just a comment.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
They just were in the same meeting together, and he said he wasn't going to provide the information,
And then he
told Chuck
advised-
he should not either.
Yeah, I guess in his official capacity, or just as a comment?
Just as an ADP board member, I believe.
Okay, okay. Okay. Thank you, Adrian.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Adrian, before you, do we need to make a motion for Jerry to be able to approve those financials for because you're gonna have a slowdown of getting your information for the financials for the third?
Yeah, I did not know if you all wanted to have this discussion towards the end, or if you want to do it right now.
Yeah,
It's up
I
to
mean,
you.
while
Just do
you're
it now
here,
since
that's
you're-
fine, yeah.
Okay.
So the concern is that you won't get all your data for your financials in time.
Right, so several offices, including the auditor's office, have indicated that they will be closed on April 8th for the eclipse.
Close.
So, yes, yeah, the whole day. Yeah. The courts have closed, yes. What I normally get information from the auditor's office to prepare financials for today on Monday, so yesterday. I would typically receive that information. If the auditor's office is closed on Monday the 8th, we would have to back up the time that I get that information to Friday. Given that it's an earlier time, I'm not anticipating getting that information in the morning. I have to anticipate getting it later in the day because it's sooner. So my concern is I would not have sufficient time to review all that before I have to provide it to you on Monday, particularly if there's any changes or anything that has to happen that would require the auditor's presence in their office. So my request was that if you are planning on staying open on April 8th, that we either move session to that Thursday, the 11th, or just financials to Thursday, the 11th. So those are the things that, the decision that would be before you.
Would it help for us to do right now, make a motion to approve, Jerry to approve the financials for that?
He has the authority to.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Has that authority,
Just
you just
give
have
me
to
a-
say we're gonna have them.
Okay.
In other words, we'll keep our meeting on Tuesday, and under the authority, you could approve the financials on Thursday.
Yeah, we would just be resetting the time for doing financials from the 9th to the 11th.
Yeah. I guess I'm confused. We're closing because of why? Why are we closing? I mean, I understand there's an eclipse, but why are we closing?
I think that
The
a lot
businesses
of,
aren't closing.
I think a lot of, well, the businesses, I would imagine, want to stay open to, get the business from all the people that are going to be in town. But I think the main concern was security for the employees as well as the courts, given the fact that if it's a nice day outside, you're anticipating, a lot of people coming into the area, and with the programs that are being planned on the square, I think that
I would say,
county employees being able to avoid the area was probably
okay,
in their
so
best
the
interest.
square is gonna be busy, that's pretty much the reason?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I believe. So,
Yeah, there's gonna be some event at the park as well.
yeah.
City of Chardon's doing an event.
Okay, we'll see. We shall see. Okay, so, do you need a motion to move to Thursday then?
I don't know if we need a motion as much as this,
Or just a-
if we want to make a motion on it, that's fine,
I
but
think it's better, better doing it as a motion.
Yeah, so
So you're just
Move
moving
financials.
financials then
Financials
to
to Thursday.
the
We'll have our
11th.
meeting
You
on
still have
Tuesday.
your regular meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah.
and then-
Yep.
All right, I will make that motion then.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right,
Thank you very much.
yeah, thanks to you again.
Good
Come on,
morning.
Jessica.
Number 5, we have received a contract from Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging to provide HEAP, which is Home Energy Assistance Program outreach services for seniors. What this is a reimbursement contract when we help individuals who are below a certain income threshold to apply for energy assistance. We help them gather the proper documentation, complete the application process. So when my staff partake in that, we are able to receive reimbursement for our time.
Okay. Very good, I'll make a motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Okay, number 6, 7, and 8, I am requesting merit increases for 3 of my staff. We recently completed our annual evaluation process, and my managers for each of our respective sub-departments referred an employee who has went above and beyond in all spheres of what they do. And our social service, or our office department requested that Elizabeth Oliverio, she's our information and referral assistant at our Chardon site, she received a merit increase, and she is currently on step 1, so we are asking that she goes to step 2 on the pay scale. Our social services sub-department requested that Michelle Warren receive a merit increase. She's currently on step 3. She would be going to step 4 in her position. And our senior centers department requested that David Craig, who is our recreation and education coordinator at our Bainbridge Senior Center, receive a merit increase for all of his hard work going from step 1 to step 2 to recognize the great efforts they put in over the last year.
Okay, thank you. I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Jessica.
Good morning.
Roger.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Number 9, with the retirement of Tom Venzel at the end of the month. We advertised internally, interviewed, and I would like to promote Austin to the position of full-time deputy director to replace Tom. So we'll have 2 deputy directors for about a month when Tom retires.
They'll just be the one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Very good. Well, congratulations. Good work. You've been here how long now? 4, 5 years?
Almost 7.
7, yeah. Hard work.
Yeah, it's been rewarding for me to see him
Progress.
progress,
Yeah.
grow, get more comfortable, and get better knowledge base put
Yeah.
together.
Good job. Well, we appreciate it. Well done. I'll make the motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
So with the promotion of Austin, his position of planner will be open. I'd like to advertise for that to get a new person brought in to replace Austin.
Okay. Make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. I appreciate it. Morning, everyone.
How are you guys? Good. Good. Well, it's that time of year again. We're here to talk about Child Abuse and Neglect and Abuse Prevention Month. Really important, obviously, time of year just to continue to raise awareness, for this issue and concern. Again, we have a wonderful county that we all love to work and be in, but obviously we're not immune, from that, and just continue to raise awareness, for this issue. We're continue to be supported by Junction Auto, who's again going to donate $50 for every car sold in the month of April, which is great. We're going to do our pinwheels, up there on the hill right there to again raise awareness, and we invited you all to kick off April 1st. So hopefully you guys can attend that. But I know Gina's got some updates and statistics for you as well.
Yeah, so we'll have 364 pinwheels outside of Junction this year. That's the number of cases that we screened in and investigated. Sometimes counties will do it differently. They'll just put up the number that they actually received, like calls that they received. We've always done it a little bit different, just to say the ones that we've investigated. So we had 364 reports.
Is that a one-year period?
It's a one-year period.
Mhm.
For
2023.
For 2023, yes. So it's for the whole year of 2023. We continue to see cases just become more and more complicated. I feel like every year I come up, I talk about how the cases are getting harder. The numbers may be going down just a little bit, but the complexity of the families that we're working with is very high. It's very unusual to have a case that just deals with, maybe domestic violence. It's domestic violence and substance abuse, or it's domestic violence and neglect. Like I said, very rarely is it just one area of concern with the family. So I think we've done a really good job in working with them. We are having a couple of our older youth come to the kickoff reception on the 1st to talk about their involvement with us. One of them is still in our custody. One of them has emancipated, and they're going to tell just a little bit about their story and what it was like working with us and the community and county, and really just share that. So that will be, I think, a good thing. They've done that a couple times now where we've been able to have them talk with different groups just about their experience. And so I think it's something that they're really starting to like to do. But yeah, like Craig said, we'd love you to come and join us. We are very thankful for Junction to support us again. They give us this money so that we can be creative with the support that we provide to the families. It's something that we use for prevention and to help. I don't know if you guys have any questions or if you wanted to.
Yeah, just to add another example, just something that happened yesterday. Gina came to my office and was like, Craig, we have an issue. And, we were going to be asking for custody of this 15-year-old boy yesterday, and we're really struggling to find a place to even put him. And so there were very, very concerning behaviors, and we called all around the state. We couldn't find I guess we would say a Children's Services residential placement for him anywhere in the state of Ohio. We continued to look certain places outside the state, couldn't find anyone, and had to kind of resort to a fallback. It really isn't a children's residential placement, but was more of a DD type of placement, and to really make us feel that this child would be safe, but also others would be safe. We had essentially paid more money to have another person watch him clock round,
Right.
at least for the time being, and it's gonna cost us $950 a day. And just to make sure, because it's as if we're the parents, and we have to make sure that he gets assessed and do these things. And so, again, behaviors, whether it's mental health, other issues, it's just a very complex time, with some of these youth.
And just even with the services, they're just, they're harder to find now. And like Craig said, I mean, we called a whole list of places that we could call, and even ones that we hadn't used before. And because of his behaviors, people didn't want to accept him. And so, yeah, we really had to be creative to make sure that we were not only keeping him safe, but others
And the
that would be
community.
there, and really making that decision, weighing, is it safer having him there or trying to put more services in the home, which we've tried to do for months, and it hasn't been successful. So really needed to make that
And just
decision.
with inflation too, everything is more expensive. Everything costs more, than jobs more, services are more. It's kind of an insidious thing that, happens. Obviously, we're going to be very careful stewards of the taxpayer dollars, but at the same time, safety is our responsibility for this child and for the community.
I guess, I'm familiar with the placements and how those work, but it's just because of a unique set of circumstances that you weren't able to find a place?
They weren't
Because
A lot of it was because of his behavior.
Behavior.
A lot of it is just that the placements are full.
Okay.
Ohio's having a placement crisis throughout the state. I mean, it's an issue that, you look in Cuyahoga County, there's been stories about
The
kids
kids staying there.
sleeping in their jail, they don't have kids, in their children's services, the Edna Center, I believe it is. So, I mean, they're literally like in there, sleeping in their offices, because they're having difficulty finding places. We haven't seen that as much, but this yesterday was one of the first, well, not to say first times, but one of the unusual times where we've come across that. And so, but we'll deal with it, we'll figure it out, it's our job. But it just goes to show you what's going on in the community.
Great.
So,
Thank you very much.
yep, you are very welcome, thank you. So I know we provided a resolution
Yeah.
to you guys, if you could, read that in the record.
Yeah, Chris, you want to read that for the record?
Resolution recognizing April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas we know that our children are our future and that it will someday fall to them to shape our community, our nation, and the world for all future generations. And whereas as a community, Jogga County values the importance of providing a safe and supportive environment in which families can nature, love, and parent their children. And whereas children who are loved and nurtured grow to love and nurture others and to provide the love and care bestowed upon them to their children, their family, and their community. Whereas, while as a community we are blessed to have many wonderful, nurturing families, we must recognize that Jogga County is not immune from the reality that some children in our county endure abuse and neglect. Whereas, as a caring community, we must not only respond to stop abuse and neglect where it exists, we must also be diligent in our efforts to prevent child abuse and neglect and ensure that our community is aware of its role in recognizing and preventing child abuse and neglect. Therefore, be it resolved that the Jogga County Board of Commissioners recognize April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Jogga County, and be it further resolved that this resolution become part of the permanent record of the Board of Commissioners of Jogga County, Ohio.
Great, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Blair?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWarke?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Thank you guys so
Excellent.
much.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Commissioner. Sorry
Good.
to Jerry.
So number 12, the maintenance department is requesting the board approve and execute the service contract agreement with Walls LLC to perform painting services for the director in county buildings for a period of 2 years, effective March 26th, in an amount not to exceed $15,000.
Okay, great, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner DeWarke?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
All right, next up, the maintenance department is requesting the board approve and execute the service contract agreement with Burton Carpet Shop to install flooring throughout the second floor of the Geauga County Courthouse Annex Building, effective March 26th for a period of 120 days, and an amount not to exceed $60,000.
Were there bids taken on the second floor of the court, the annex? What are they range? What's the
We got
range?
quotes. It was within,
It was within hundreds of dollars.
yes.
But what was the high number, what was the low number? That's the range I'm looking at, thinking about.
So the high number was just below 60. The lowest was around 54.
And so that's, Burton Carpet Shop is 54?
Yes. 53.79 or something like that.
Thank you.
And with the, all the construction going on at the courthouse, is this gonna be separate or not interfere in any way? Is this the best time to be putting carpet in?
Yes, so we're going to be doing it in the evenings during the week,
Mhm.
5 to 10 p.m., Monday through Friday is kind of the schedule for
But there'll be
that.
no disruption with the new, or interference with this new carpeting getting tracked over with construction debris and dirt and mud and everything else?
Not that
Do we
we
wait till the
see.
construction's over to put the carpet in, is what I'm asking?
Well, the problem is the carpet's really, really bad.
Okay.
So, if we wait until construction's done,
Okay, okay. All right, I will make the motion to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
All right, next up, the maintenance department is requesting the board approve and execute the service contract agreement with Newco Incorporated, doing business as Paul Davis Restoration of Cleveland Metro and Akron to provide restoration services in the event of an emergency for a period of 1 year, effective March 26th, in an amount not to exceed $60,000.
All right. So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yep.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner
Aye.
Spillier?
All right, number 15, we're requesting the board grant permission to advertise for bids for the Geauga County parking lot repairs to be held on Wednesday, April 24th, 2024 at 2 p.m. Notice of this bid opening will be advertised on March 28th and April 4th, both in the Maple Leaf and on the county website.
Geauga County parking lot repairs, which parking lot?
Just about all of them,
Oh, all of them. So this includes any parking lots?
almost. We've got West Geauga Senior Center, we've got the maintenance department, 470, we've got some patchwork going on, Patterson Center, so on and so forth. We didn't include the safety center because we're working on that separately to get that completely redone. But for the most part, the majority of the parking lots.
So you have a list that you're sending out to bid on?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so moved.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, next up, we are requesting the board grant permission to advertise for bids for the Geauga County 2024 to 2026 cleaning service contract to be held on Wednesday, May 8th, 2024 at 2 p.m. Notice of this bid opening will be advertised on April 11th and April 18th in the Maple Leaf and on the county website.
Okay, great. So we have some of our own in-house cleaning as well. This will supplement that?
Correct.
Okay. And you have a list of, appropriate places?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so move.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
All right, number 17, we're requesting the board grant permission to advertise for bids for the Geauga County window and glass cleaning services to be held on May 8th, 2024 at 2:10 p.m. Notice of this bid opening will be advertised on April 11th, 2024 and April 18th, 2024 on the Maple Leaf and on the county website.
All right, I'll make the motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner
Aye.
Spillier?
All right, number 18, the maintenance department is requesting the board select TEC Incorporated as the most qualified to provide the required professional design services for the Geauga County Courthouse Annex Generator Upgrade Project pursuant to RC 153.71 B2A, and authorize the negotiation of a contract in accordance with RC 153.69B.
Okay, so move.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Number 19 is, we tried a technology maintenance person position. That's not working. We want to abolish that one and go ahead and make, take that position and up our senior trades mechanic position from 4 to 5.
Okay.
So you never hired a person that was just out there seeking that position? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so move.
Second.
So for clarification, you're doing 19 and 20 then together because, go on, explain it more. I just want to be clear.
Yes, 19 and 20, correct.
Commissioner Arnold?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right?
The next few, we've been out for the last year with the help of Job and Family Services, going out and doing wage adjustments of wage where we should be at with everything. With Linda and Kathy's and JFS's, all their help and everything on getting this together, this is what came up to be the best. 21, Maintenance Department's requesting the board to revise the title and job description. A regrade for the position of custodian 1 to custodian to a grade 5 to be effective March 31st. Basically on that one, we're changing from custodian 1 to just regular custodian.
Right.
It's a name change.
Yeah, and just to add, we've been reviewing, in contact with Linda and Kathy, and they've been keeping us up to date as to what you guys are proposing and doing. This is some restructuring, trying to, it's been difficult, retaining and finding maintenance workers, obviously. So, and we just want to thank JFS and Craig and, for helping, helping you guys structure that as well, too. So I'm comfortable with this plan moving forward. Okay, I'll make a motion on agenda item number 21.
Second.
Commissioner Arnold?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right.
22 is basically title change to custodian for David Alexandria, Jeff Slater, Jamie, and Matthew from a regrade for a pay rate adjustment to grade 5, step 5, at a rate of 17.61 cents.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Commissioner Arnold?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right.
The next one is a pay rate adjustment for maintenance workers. Paul, Gary, James, and Jerry, grade 6 to a step 5 at a rate of 19.28 cents.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Commissioner Arnold?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right.
The next 24 is a pay rate adjustment for senior trades mechanics, Sean, Connor, and Ken, to a grade 7, step 6 at a rate of 21.54 cents.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Commissioner Arnold?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right.
The next one is a pay rate adjustment for general communications clerk for Kim and Joan from to a grade 3, step 7 at a rate of 15.13.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Commissioner Arnold?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right.
The next one is a pay rate adjustment for administrative coordinator for Tammy to a grade 7, step 4 at $20.26.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Arnold?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right.
The next one is a pay rate adjustment for fiscal budget officer Sue to a grade 11, step 3 at a rate of $25.79.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Arnold?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
The next one is requesting the board approve the revised organization chart to remove the technology maintenance person and increase the number of senior trade mechanic to it changes and the changes to the custodian.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Commissioner Arnold?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right.
Okay.
And once again, I'd like to thank you all
Yeah, appreciate it.
and JFS and Linda and
Mhm.
Kathy for all their support and assistance in this, in the last year.
Yeah, it's been a long time discussion for years, really, but, taking some time to get it sorted and planned. And so appreciate everybody's work together on that. Yeah.
On the averages with these wage bumps to get them into the, what they're supposed to be getting, did it range like 3% raise or 5? Like,
And approximately, I can get those numbers all for you, and I have it all broke down on a
Okay,
spreadsheet.
great.
And I can give you that.
Thank you.
Yep. No, thank you.
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am good.
Good.
Nice weather, right?
Oh, yeah.
Item for ducks. Item 29 on the agenda is to approve and execute a service contract with Firehouse 8 Extinguisher Service LLP to perform our fire extinguisher services throughout the department. We used to use Five Star, they're no longer there, so this
Very
they
good.
will replace them.
Very good. Okay, I'll make the motion approved.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Item 30 on the agenda is requesting the board approve and execute a service contract agreement with James Well Drilling to perform well maintenance services as needed at our various water locations in the amount not to exceed $5,000.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
On the well maintenance, do you ever shock the wells?
Clean, whatever
Like
we need.
every
pull
2
out.
years?
Yeah,
Rotation?
we do a cleaning, so we'll pull the motor, we'll pull the pumps, all of that, so.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Item 31 on the agenda is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the application for authorization to permit use of county credit cards for 24 to add Robert Carter. He's our new chief operator down at McFarland, so this will allow him to run down if we get anything on one deal, give him that authorization, not to exceed $1,000 per month.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Item number 32 is payment number 6 to Infinity Construction in the amount of $397,700.50 for the courthouse expansion.
Okay, I will make the motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
And item 33 deals with the proposed Sheridan Senior Center. We went out for statements qualifications for architects. We received 3, Design, 6mo Architects, and Strollo Architects. So we're asking here for permission to accept those and then to have further discussions with all 3 firms regarding their qualification statements, the scope and nature of services to be provided, and technical approaches to determine the best firm for the project.
Sure, and they'll present for us, correct?
That's the way you wish to have them come in.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Why you want to discuss it.
Yeah, just so we have a general idea.
To
Yeah,
have that during session.
that'd be great. Okay. So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Items 34, 35, 36, and 37 all have to do with well merit increases here in the county under the hiring authority. The Commissioner's Office is requesting that you approve a merit increase for Gina Hofstetter, Director of Community and Economic Development, to the rate of $37.17 per hour.
And just to add to that, you've been performing performance reviews on everybody, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm. They've all got performance, the directors
Very good.
definitely. Okay, number 35, we're requesting the board approve a merit increase for Roger Peterson, Director.
Well, let's, we'll make a motion. Yeah. I'm going to make a motion on agenda item number 34.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Sorry about that.
Okay, we're requesting that you approve a merit increase for Roger Peterson, Director of Department of Emergency Services, to the rate of $38.31 per hour.
So move.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Requesting that the board approve a merit increase for Kelly Bidlack, Human Resources Specialist, to the rate of $24.91 per hour.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
And that you approve a merit increase for Christine Blair, Commissioner's Clerk, to the rate of $29.12 per hour.
Absolutely. I'll make the motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Roger.
We got the Geauga County Fair
Morning.
Contract?
Yeah, hold on. No, you're fine. Don't, you can sit down because it's going to take like 2 seconds. This is the fair contract that we have to sign every single year. It's due before the end of March. After the last year, we went back and revised some of the language that was included in the contract, to be more specific on what it is that we're doing during the winter. So it's just your request to sign the contract for the use of the elderly during the winter.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Lippman?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right, thank you. Okay, morning. Good morning. Don, how are you guys? Morning. Very good.
How's everybody?
I'm just providing you with a timeline of events associated with this issue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we've been working on this issue for a little bit now. We have previously submitted the request, the additional request to re-up the tax exemption that was removed by the auditor. But we're also going forward with and looking forward to filing a appeal to the Board of Revisions on the auditor's actions.
At the state of Ohio.
Well, no, to the Board of Revisions, Geauga County Board of Revisions.
Okay.
Based on our outside counsel discussion, we have to go that step first to go to the state. Right now, we're going to, we have submitted for the exemption for this year, which is going to eventually be submitted to the state. It's sitting in the auditor's office, to my knowledge. It's still sitting in the auditor's office. But we're following a second track also because of the way that the taxes were put back on the property. They were put back on, instead of being put back on for 2023, which would then be addressed by the tax commissioner if they gave us the exemption back. They were put on past taxes, past tax years. So that's why we have to go through the Board of Revisions for that. So we're kind of a two-track route right now. In the meantime, I know Don has done some research on this and had discussions with your state officials or state boards. So Don has to come in and to present some of that information.
Sure. In talking, we talked to our state association of county boards, and they recommended that we make sure that everything is very clear and upfront. So we want to make sure that we give you guys a picture of where we are. We know that this started, the taxation issue began with a complaint from Chester Township involving the one building at the Metzenbaum Center that we call House A. In December, we found out that the auditor had made the unilateral decision to tax all of the buildings at the Metzenbaum Center. His decision was made without getting all the facts or even contacting us at the County Board of Developmental Disabilities. The only time we've had conversation with him was at the Budget Commission last week. The following outlines some of the pertinent information about the 9 buildings at the Metzenbaum Center. 6 of the buildings are serving the same purpose for which they were built. It doesn't make sense to tax them when they're doing the same things that they've always done. The 7th building is the former adult workshop building, which is now being used by the Department of Aging and the Sheriff's Office. The 2 county government programs using a county building was not even questioned by the township as being a taxable event. I don't believe that it should be taxed. The main building at the Metzenbaum Center was built to provide school programs, recreation space, and administrative offices. Today, the building is being used to house administrative offices, recreation programs, and school programs. There are only 2 differences in the use of the building. One is that one of the county school programs is being charged rent because they serve some Cuyahoga County residents who cannot be supported with Geauga tax dollars. So we have to charge them rent because we can't spend our dollars supporting Cuyahoga County folks. The second is the rent of 262 square feet of the 55,000+ square feet building to a nonprofit entity who serves people in Geauga and Northeast Ohio. Well, the taxing of all the buildings are being appealed to the state of Ohio for determination. The most that could be considered taxable would be to split out the rented space. Even that is potentially not taxable, according to our understanding. Once again, the township didn't even question this building. It wasn't part of, the main building wasn't part of their questions. The building that's in question is by the township was an empty house which was rented to a nonprofit agency called Emerald Rose. They provided temporary housing to both people with developmental disabilities and mental health issues. The same management group has another home in Geauga County that is tax exempt, but that site functions under another name and another 501c3 designation. This building House A represents less than 5% of the building space of the Metzenbaum Center. Why the auditor didn't split this out from the whole center makes no sense. The taxation of this building is also up for determination, I believe, by the state of Ohio. If the auditor's decision is not questioned and overruled, the impact of having a $770,000+ tax bill will have a major impact on the Board of DD and its programs. The taxpayer will pay for the bill via the Metzenbaum Center levies, which will mean that either the levies need to be increased more frequently or at a higher rate. The failure of the levy would result in program cuts. Some of these program cuts could be $770,000 represents what we spend each year in funding of the early intervention program. That's the program that serves 0 to 3 population. It also represents residential support for 46 individuals who no longer can live at home. Those are waivers that we fund and work through. $770,000 also represents the amount that we spend on transportation for people to get to and from work and the different day programs. Those are the type of impacts that this would have on the county board. So I'm just trying to make it real clear on what this means.
Yeah, very devastating.
Do you have any questions?
So just kind of give us the process then as far as, so the steps that you've taken, where we're at now, and where just to have some clarity of what we've done so far.
Well, my understanding is you guys are in the lead because you're the named agencies. We can't take the lead in this because you guys own the property. We asked the prosecutor the other day whether we could hire outside counsel to represent us, and he said because we're not named, we cannot go out and hire outside counsel. So we're relying on your counsel. We don't have the authority at this point to go out and hire a lawyer to represent.
And did we receive a letter, or we were just verbally told by the county prosecutor he will not represent in this case? Or is that true or not?
We got an email,
An email?
yes,
Okay.
and he informed us that he felt that the issue had become adversarial and that he was not going to represent us anymore. That was in
So
January.
is he representing anybody,
We don't know.
or, yeah?
But does this fall into the case where he can't represent because he represents both of us?
That I don't know.
I'm just curious, I guess, I don't know if there's any representation, is he representing the auditor's office or just nobody? I guess we'll have to find that out,
We don't know.
And so, but we've already engaged an outside counsel to get some opinions, correct? Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so what they're recommending is a couple different things. File a hearing with the local board of revisions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, which that's the next thing is to have authorization for me to sign that when we submit it, needs to be by this Friday.
Okay.
So
And that'd be an appeal to these taxes.
that's appealing, that is appealing I think it's just the back taxes that were put on there. So that from the previous 3 years that weren't put on put on the taxes for 2023.
Mhm.
They were put on the taxes for the past years.
Right, and then the argument in large is happening where? Because I just listened to Don here, and there may be some argument about is it tax exempt or not tax exempt, but then also we're taxing this entire piece of property with all these different buildings except for potentially this one X amount of square footage, that may or may not be the culprit of the whole thing,
Correct, and that's the second road we're taking. We've submitted the new application to exempt that property, which would be for 2023 and going forward, with other years too. But that'd be 2023, that would take off 2023's, but not the previous years. So we have to do the Board of Revisions for the previous years.
Okay, I see, okay. And then, but at the same time, we are still waiting for the state to receive.
To my understanding, the auditors, because you submit it to your local auditor, who then sends it to the tax commission. To my understanding, it is still sitting in the county auditor's office. It's not been submitted to the state.
And has there been any contact with the state tax commission? Is on our?
We have contacted the state tax commission. They actually have a copy of what we submitted to the auditor's office. And the state actually, I don't want to say this publicly or not, but the state basically has stated that the auditor has not done it properly.
Okay. Is there a way to re-engage the state and see if they can, politely remind everyone to try and get this thing going?
Further discussion, the state tax commission person we've been talking to has stated that they sent information to the auditor's office, basically telling them that they believe they're doing it wrong, but also giving them a deadline of April 1st to get the paperwork into the tax commission.
April 1st. Okay. All right. Well, Don, is there something you need from us besides outside legal counsel at this time? I mean, that's really what it sounds like you need from, is for the county commissioners. I guess we've already got the outside counsel. But
He more or less just needs us to keep fighting it.
yeah, okay.
We have no authority at this point to step up and do anything. And
But-
yet at the same time, I'm sure that we are actively involved in an interested party. But we have to be piggybacking on what your guys' efforts are.
Yeah, and we appreciate you providing us with some details and some information as to what these buildings are used for and what historically they've always been used for and will continue to be used for, correct?
Most of them, yes.
Yeah.
As things change, the thing is, as federal government changes rules and as the state government changes rules, what used to be in 1970 isn't still the same here in 2020 something.
Right.
So yeah, and some of the uses have changed slightly over the years because of just what's required by state and federal statutes.
And to the best of your knowledge or recollection or just opinion, what was the catalyst for this happening other than Chesterland filing a complaint? Was there a change in tax exempt law or what started this?
This all started with Chesterland filing because we were renting the empty house to a 501c3.
Okay.
And they felt that at that time it should have been taxed. And I couldn't answer that at that time. I didn't know anything about that, so that's when they filed their complaint.
Well, I was there at the meeting with you. Was it September or October of 23?
I think it was September of 23.
And they were adamant about getting tax dollars from something off the Metzenbaum facility, the area. And they were very boisterous on this, and that's what started the ball rolling. But historically, since, it all comes back on our laps of the contracts that you make with all the other facilities, and correct me if I'm wrong, but historically, you make the contract, the agreement, and put it in paper, but is there any communication with our administrator about you contracted this 501c3, or you contracted this, or you contracted that? Because if they're going to end up in our laps, we should know your process historically.
I know that we gave our minutes and things like that over, but whether it's read or anything like that, the specifics of that we did not, there's clearly something missing there.
Okay, now if you have an empty house, do you send Jerry an email that says, hey, since everything's under the commissioners?
Yeah, we had Jerry out to look at it when we had empty houses. You walked through with me the one time.
Yeah, I mean, this has been going on since I got here, looking for ways to, potentially utilize space over there, correct? I mean, there's always been a challenge for years and years to continue to use it. Doing it under the tax exempt way, continuing, that's going to be the, obviously moving forward, and any type of leases, we're going to have to get that approval ahead of time, to make sure that everything's on the up and up. But this is a unfortunate set of circumstances that, and, you know, I don't have the answer at this point. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the state says, correct? I guess they're really the decider of it?
That's what it sounds like. at this
Okay,
point.
okay. So if there's any way to get the application either through our auditor's office to the state in a timely fashion, or I don't know if we can send a copy of the application to the state and just say, here's what we're working with. You know, I don't know if that's possible or not, but.
The state already has.
They have it.
Because we submitted it to them when we were asking the questions.
Okay, okay. But by April 1st, it sounds like that's the deadline, so they can continue their work on this, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right, well, I appreciate the details. I would say, you know, let's keep in touch, and after April 1st, we can circle back and see where we're at here.
But just to be clear, so the original demand was not even, there wasn't even a look at or a compromise. It was basically stated that you guys owe us $770,000.
Yeah.
That wasn't even
I found out about it through looking it up on the website.
Right, so it wasn't like, you know, let's take a look at this. It was basically you owe us.
Correct.
And that's pretty much where the demand is that we have a $700,000 bill that is, or, you know, tax bill
So,
and penalties that are due.
That makes me think for a second. So the complaint was made by Chesterland, correct?
Yes.
Right? Who ruled that it was a $771,564.27?
That was the auditor.
The auditor. But,
Because he took a look back of 3 years or
Yeah.
something like that.
So that's 3 years.
5 years,
He went back 5 years.
instead of just the one.
so he
back to
ruled,
2019.
so the auditor ruled on that.
Yes.
And it's a 3-year, because they're saying for 3 years it was going back. Okay. Okay.
I think he went back 5.
An
He
interesting.
went 2019.
An interesting little bit of information on that is because when we got that, we requested some information from the auditor's office. And what was sent to us was actually a internal memo that his staff had done for him. And in that memo, it was recommended to only do the portion of the property that was the house and the lease. And he chose to do the whole property instead.
Huh.
So could there be 2 appeals, one for the dollar amount and one how he calculated what should be taxed and what should not be taxed?
In effect, that's what we're doing, yes. The Board of Revision, appeal is for the calculation more or less of the property. The taxes were put on the previous years. And the one that the request of the state would, if that property, if the apartment or house is not deemed to be tax exempt, then that would be the.
And how many square footage is that apartment or house?
If you count the main floor, not the basement, it's 3,600 square feet.
If you do count it or don't count it?
If you don't count the basement,
Okay.
you double the size. if
It's really
you
not living
count the
quarters, the basement, right?
No, it's storage.
Storage. And
Storage.
it was one of the old homes that was used, correct?
Correct.
So it's got a kitchen and,
It's got a kitchen, it's got 6 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms.
yeah, and, okay.
And was there something, correct me if I'm wrong, we have a certain time that this has got to be paid or else we acquire another penalty?
If you look on the website, it's continuing to accrue interest as we speak. So it's now 779 plus 1,000 or so the other day when I looked.
Okay.
And this started back, I guess, just so this timeline, I'm looking at it, it says January of 2023, correct?
Yeah.
That was when we first started received a letter from the auditor. But, construction, new construction.
So what you're saying, Jim, is the request from Chesterland was not for the whole property?
Well, that's what I understand after
Just one
Don
house.
giving us this
It was
information.
just for that single house?
Correct.
But they, right, in writing, but that night when it was a boisterous meeting, they wanted as much as possible off the MRDD property. In other words, that's what they're pushing for. You know, it's in Chesterland, we want our taxes, we want, road and bridge, fire, police, everything. They were rather boisterous that night, which is fine. But when they did do the request on the letter, they say that it was just for this one house, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the jump came for the entire parcel. How many acres are there?
34?
34 acres, so we're being charged 34 acres, plus all the facilities,
Yeah, there's 9 buildings total.
and that's what gets it up to 800 or 779 and accruing as we speak. Yeah.
So there was a memo then that stated only
Somewhere.
to be for the house only.
Yeah.
Was that in the Chesterland's appeal or no? Or no, probably not.
In the Chester Township appeal, they called out the address of the house, not the address of the entire parcel. We received from the auditor's office a copy of the memo that was given to him from inside his department that laid out the law for why they thought that this should be put back on the tax list, but the recommendation at the end was only to do it for the portion that was being used by Emerald Rose.
And was that from our prosecutor that sent them that letter?
That was from their compliance officer within the auditor's staff.
I see. That does the tax, that's somebody that does the specifics to what should be taxed and what shouldn't be?
Well, it read like a legal opinion. It was
I see.
citing law and case law and so forth about why they felt that the Chester Township request should be, that it should be placed back on to the tax list.
But just for that parcel,
That
but
was
just
the
for that,
recommendation.
yeah, for that single home, not the whole property.
There was a sentence that said if you put the whole property back on, it can't be sent to the tax commissioner. I don't know why it said that, but that was also in there.
Wait, say that again?
There was a sentence in that opinion that says if the entire parcel is put back onto the tax list, it can't be sent to the tax commissioner. That's what it said.
I'm confused with that.
Kate's here.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
questions, you guys have questions about.
Yeah.
That's actually a procedural requirement on the DT 23 form. I literally just reworked the language. So if you have questions, I highly recommend you read the application form that you guys submitted. It has the procedural requirements at the end. So it wasn't
Okay.
like an attempt to,
So it's a entire, you got it by statute or law, or you have to put the entire,
it goes with who has actual oversight over making the exemption. Our office doesn't decide what's exempt, but we are in charge of reviewing exemptions every year and determining whether the exemption is still accurate or whether or not the property should be back on the tax list.
okay.
So that has to do with that procedure, but it's on the DT 23 form anyway.
Okay, so since you're here, that's great. So what's your opinion to get this thing moving forward? I mean, or do you have an opinion on this, or?
Well, you guys have done, I mean, you have already submitted it.
Yeah.
It deals with the 23 exemption, so I'm not sure anything else. I'm obviously a legal counsel, so I can't give you advice.
So no, not legal advice, but you're the representative of the auditor's office, I guess, and this is pertaining to the county that we all are representing, the same county, I think, correct?
I'm happy to answer your question.
Yeah.
I just mean I can't give
And
you. advice
I guess, so as far as the auditor's office is concerned, it's a done matter as far as they're concerned, or is it just need to, I guess what's holding it up going to Columbus? Why isn't it going to Columbus?
We were just finishing our internal review. So
Okay.
the process with these DT 23 exemptions, the state tax commissioner has deputized, long deputized, I think it's been 40 or 50 years, deputized county auditors to accept those exemption applications on the state tax commissioner's behalf to kind of, so the local auditors can do their recommendations, but also to kind of iron out any procedural issues on the front end, which was the letter we sent to you guys, I think, in January. So we are working on, and we should be finished soon, on our recommendation, which we will then submit with your filed application, your DT 23 form for 2023 to the state.
Okay.
So, Kate, let me ask you, so then, were you aware that then on that recommendation was just to basically, if at the most was going to be just that parcel, but how did it all, was that letter from you?
The memo was from me.
The
yes.
memo, So your recommendation was just to put it into that parcel and only that parcel?
So there's the ability to do, there's a statute, forgive me, I don't remember off the top of my head the statute number, but split listing, it allows for parcels to be split listed. The problem we had with this case, we got the complaint from Chester, it didn't specify, I know you say Kausai, but we don't have, it didn't specify the limits of what the exact use was in that subcontract, in the sublease with this private entity. I know there's parking, et cetera. Because we didn't have the exact area delineated, our job is to say this property that was exempt in the past under 570908, which just deals with public use, is now clearly, at least part of it is not being used for public use. And I believe since we've...
Wait a second, hold on a second, you said it's not being used for public use?
That was the
It's
finding.
public purpose is
But
what the language is. It's not.
Yeah, but
not
who
public
determined
use,
that?
it's
Who
public.
determined that?
But the delineate, okay.
Wait, hold on a second, who determined that it's not
So
public,
that was
considered
found
public
in
use?
the review of the Chester complaint, that at least part of it was not being used for public use. And that was the part that was being rented out to another.
But who determined that?
That was the decision of the county auditor,
Okay,
and that's our role. is to
okay.
determine whether.
And how did he determine that?
Again, I believe you have that memo.
But you could tell me, you're here, how did he determine that?
I would refer you to the memo, sir.
Yeah.
But in that memo, just to be clear, so that when you sent that, it was, the recommendation was basically just to basically tax just that isolated, that single home, right?
So again, there's the ability to do that. The problem is when that area is not delineated, it's impossible to say this should be tax exempt or this not, when we don't have that information that wasn't provided. So I think the decision that was made to put the whole parcel back and allow the property owner, you, to refile and say, this is specifically being used for public use. This is being used for
That
I
makes
believe
sense.
I believe there's some for-profit business being conducted on the property. There's nonprofits that aren't government entities.
No
No,
for-profit. No for-profit.
I understood there was like an N-Power, a couple of other,
All 501c3s.
N-Power is?
N-Power is, we've got a 501c3 for everyone who's using the buildings.
They don't have a lease, they just use.
Yeah, N-Power doesn't lease our
They're not
building, they're just
government
using the
entities,
building.
And the previous exemption was under one that was used, it was for public use, which wouldn't include the outside charities. So I think that answers that.
Yeah,
Basically,
I
if
know,
use
but-
changes, you have to refile and request exemption under the correct statute. Use isn't different. Yeah, it's not a blanket just because you've had exemption under 570908 since, let's say the 80s or something. to that effect. If you change the use, now it's under charitable use or whatever, just hypothetically, you have to file for the changed use. It's no longer exempt under the statute it was, and that wasn't done. So we had to put it back on the tax list. It's on the property owner to then file under the correct exemption. And I believe that's what your filing was.
And did you reach out to MRDD in any way to bring this matter up? No.
There's no part in that process that that would be.
No communication like that?
Because we own the buildings
You,
and the properties on our
But
neighbor.
there would be no, like, when you were researching the use of it, I guess, was there any question as to what's going on? Just to pick up the phone or something like that? Just,
No.
what are you guys doing over there?
No.
I mean, we were reviewing the complaint as submitted by the
Yeah.
complaint.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is
Now,
the
does
process.
the administrator have to apply for, no taxes every year on a form?
I believe it's for, unless the use changes. If there's a change in use, then it has to be refiled.
Every year?
That's my understanding. If there's a change in use.
Are we behind with the use application or use form?
No, that would be the DT that we resubmitted.
Yes, I believe Commissioner Spitaleri files a DT 23 at the end of December 23.
Let me ask,
Okay.
okay. Yeah. So the, was there, and I don't know if this is true or not, but this goes back a few months ago, but was there something along the lines like, if you don't pay the $770,000, we won't review the application? Was there something along those lines, or, I thought I heard something like that,
I
but,
think there may be a jurisdictional issue, but it
Yeah.
would be up to the state to decide.
okay.
But do you think that we'll have that filed then to the state, that whatever is kind of holding up right now of the paperwork that's got to go to the state by April 1st?
It will certainly be filed on time, sir, yes.
Okay.
And then the Board of Revisions process, that's coming from, I guess, is that in Ohio Revised Code as a avenue to address it?
That's what we're being advised by our outside counsel.
Yeah.
Is to seek the Board of Revisions review.
So you can do that at the same time?
I mean, I know this is a unique situation and started by Chester Township, but does it, usually, because I sit on the Board of Revisions, and usually homeowners come in and complain about their taxes, but they already paid. So in other words, you have to pay the tax to appeal the tax. Is that going to be some kind of disconnect because we haven't paid anything on this new idea of taxation for the MRDD property?
That was one of the arguments that was made by the auditor's office.
Okay.
That we need to pay the $770 for them to send that.
And there's never been any type of tax paid on this property before that, I mean, in any way?
Not that I know of.
I
No.
don't think so.
And then, and so this, just so I'm clear, this goes back 3 years, correct?
Goes back 5 years.
5 years.
2019.
But it was just brought up in January 2023?
In January, December of 2023 is when the auditor ruled.
And how was 5 years established? Was that
That's when we first started renting.
to Emerald Rose?
To Emerald Rose.
Yeah.
And they're still there, right?
No, they've left.
Or they left?
They don't have staffing. They ran into the same problem many of our providers do. They didn't have staffing, so they've combined, they've left effective in November of 2023. They didn't have enough staff. We required 24/7 staffing, and they didn't have enough staff to run 24/7 staffing. So they pulled back to 2 other locations that they were operating.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, I guess we'll wait till hear more from the state here, I guess, in April.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Appreciate the information.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
So, do you need them to take up legal action to authorize you then to
Yes, I would.
submit? Okay.
So then,
It's asked the board to take a formal action to permit me to be the one to sign off on that appeal to the Board of Revisions. As we appeal the.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to appoint Jerry to appeal.
Second?
Schindler?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
right.
Should we, also, I would just request that we have I'd like to have a discussion with our outside counsel. I mean, I guess we can do it individually or an executive session, but I'd like to discuss, kind of their thoughts as to where we're at on this today.
Okay,
So if you can get either a meeting set up with all of us, or if we can talk to them individually or whatever.
okay, I'll do that.
Okay. What else? Lost my agenda.
The last time.
Oh, yeah.
We want to discuss this letter for the conference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Commissioner, you had asked me to prepare a letter so we could have a discussion about the ADP being in the conference room, A332. The background on that is that, back a couple years ago, the ADP had requested utilizing that conference room as a preparation room as they're beginning to work on the phone system for this office building. They needed someplace to kind of spread phones out to get them up and running, and then before they separated them out to all the departments. We authorized that with the idea that they would be done by October of that year. and they'd be done, but they, kind of came back towards the end of October, asking for a little more time because they were now implementing the phones in the rest of the county buildings, so we allowed them to do that. They've since finalized that implementation, but have not moved out of that, back out of that conference room. So we've been, discussing with them several times about removing themselves from that. They have continually refused to leave. In the last ADP meeting, there was a discussion regarding that, and basically the sum of what came out of that was the prosecutor basically telling them, don't move out, make the commissioner sue you to get out. So, to Commissioner Lennon's point earlier, the prosecutor has chosen sides on this. So, Ralph, you had asked me to create a letter for the board to vote on and approve to send to ADP to vacate that space. So I have prepared that letter. I don't know if you want to have any further discussion.
Well, since we've got the director here from ADP, is there a problem with that, or is there a reason why that you haven't been able to move out yet, or?
Is there a problem with you sending a letter to the ADP board?
No. I'm asking, is there a holdup with being able to move out of the conference room, or is there still things that are needed to be used, or what's the holdup?
Sure, that's a great question. We're currently using that as a staging space as we continue to move technology out. We probably have $30,000 to $40,000 in secured technology in there. We just don't have space at this building to do that, or reasonable space at that point. We've continued to use that. I've made Glenn aware, who's been great. If somebody needs access to that conference room, we can find a temporary space to move that out to. We're utilizing it, and nobody's asked to use that conference room. As there's, I think, 9 or 10 conference rooms here.
Right, but this, just so you know, I was part of the design of this building. This conference area, the way it is right now, is smaller than the way presented to the public, to the way we spec'd it. It was supposed to be a direct replacement for Building 8. It's our largest conference room, with the idea of spending considerable amount of investment in putting the dividers in so we can break that up into other ways. Not to say ADP can't continue to use that space, of course you can, but it will need to be just like any other agency or any other department where it comes requested through maintenance to utilize that. So if there is an event where they need to use the entire piece, fantastic, we can open it up and adapt. If you need to continue to use a small piece for a certain amount of time, you make that request with an estimated time period, just like anybody else. That would 9 times out of 10 be accommodated, just like anybody else, as long as there's no conflict. But just to say, for the last 2 years, that we're going to continue on and on and on in perpetuity, because I know a little bit of the backstory as to the request as to wanting to turn that into a office or your office or an office for the auditor or so on and so on. Originally, when we designed this building, it was under the guise that there was going to be maybe 3 to 4 IT techs that would be servicing this entire space. Now I would estimate we're way above 3 or 4.
Well, we were asked to vacate the Opera House at one point, so we did move the rest of the team into this building.
I don't know who told you to vacate the Opera House, but we haven't moved anywhere. So, but the point is, I would say, if you do have some expensive type equipment in there, that is not a storage room, and it's not designed as a locker. It's not a it's not a storage room. So I would say, wherever you can put that stuff and secure it within the next, hopefully like a week or so, or however long it would take you to get it out of there. But I would start trying to find a spot so we can open that back up and turn it into a conference room.
Do you have a suggestion as to reasonable secure space we could move that to?
We can work on that. We can work on that with you. If you need to go out and rent outside space or find something secure in the basement with ADP now having archives, I'm sure we could design something that you could lock something up down there. I don't know. There could be some other spots. I would say maybe some of the IT closets are good for storing things and locking things up. But not our conference room, okay? All right, so if we do need to send a letter to do this, fine. We'll make a motion to send a letter. This should have been handled just with a conversation and a phone call. Once again, okay? Again, some kind of attempt to play games, this back and forth. So we'll put together a motion, we'll send the letter to make it official, okay? And if you need help, you want to request it, that's great. And we can continue to utilize it, same with ADP, just like anybody else can. Just like any conference room can. Okay?
I definitely recommend you send that letter.
Yeah, okay. We're going to send the letter. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve and send the letter.
Second?
Commissioner Lund?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Sure.
Commissioner
Aye.
Jessica, you have 2 conference rooms in your floor.
That's correct.
Do you use both of them all the time, every day?
All of the time, no. It depends what programs we have going on. When we have legal appointments, sometimes there are dual signings, so both conference rooms are in use at the same time. When we have clients in the hearings rooms, sometimes we'll need to move a client visit in a conference room, or we have another appointment in the other room. At all times during the day, they are not occupied, but they are occupied frequently for appointments.
So that they can, that room, one of the conference rooms can be secure and locked for like a work area or, you know, workshop area for ADP.
We would probably need to use it a couple times during the week for appointments.
But you have 2 conference rooms.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
So what is the concern, Frank? You have equipment that needs to be secured?
We do, yeah, thank you.
That's just basically just like boxes of stuff?
We have monitors, we have desktops, we have switches, firewalls, and some cameras. Yes, in boxes, correct.
So I had this conversation with Linda as far as even in our archives, if we needed to, you know, have a secured cage area that's under video surveillance, to be able to do that, you know, I think that there was room, correct, Linda, that we could be able to have storage area to put some
When I
stuff?
left there was shelf space that could have been used. It is a secure area. There's secure conditioned space, and so is their garage. They have the whole of the 3rd floor of the Opera House they can use now, because we are staying in there for the foreseeable future. So there are spaces,
Okay.
in my opinion.
And as far as for the 3rd floor on the Opera House, what's your thoughts about that?
Again, we were told to vacate. I understand it's a little different now. I know you've been up there, and it's rough up there. I know we've all tried to move out. We talked about remodeling for probation. That seems like that might be on hold. It's a difficult space to store technology where it's secured and safe, and you know, humidity and all that sort of thing. Beyond that, it's difficult to work up there and to prep it. So we've also been using that room, which I apologize, I didn't clarify that when you asked for storage. We've also been using it as a prep area too, right? So we'll put a switch out, plug in, and that's where we image all the machines that go out to the county. That can take, you know, like with DES, for instance, we imaged 32 machines there. That took 2 months to do. That followed the phones work in there. So you plug all those in, you begin to image them, they stay there, they load for days, that sort of thing. So it would also need to be that kind of space as well that provides the ability to have the access for that. The Opera House was never good for that, which is why at that time we were always behind on implementing technology through the county.
Right. I understand your need there, and we can try and help you find that, but I don't think our conference room is the spot for it. Although it is a good spot and it has a lot of elbow room, it is an adaptable conference room. That is what we told the taxpayers we were building, and that's what we built. So that's what it's going to remain as of now. So.
And noting that the original ADP space was part of that conference room area. And I think somebody early on, after the initial building scope, recognized that there was no space provided for ADP. And then the 4th conference room there was then converted to ADP space already. So we've sort of already done that once down the pike.
I don't think that was in the plans originally.
No.
Okay. So then we'll get that letter off to them. And what do you think, what kind of a time frame do you think it'll take you to get everything cleared out of there?
Well, obviously the ADP board, made up the 12 different members, you know, told me I don't have the authority to do that. I have no problem. I work for the board. So as soon as the board receives this letter and then meets and makes their determination, I'll do what the board tells me to do.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not much to determine, but you're happy to read it. Okay?
All right. Anything else, Jerry, Tim, Jim? Nothing?
The only thing I would do is, with this letter, is ask the board to pass a motion to authorize me to sign that letter.
We did.
Yep, we did, yep.
They did.
We made a motion. Okay,
Are
sorry.
you gonna put a date on it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any questions? Nothing? Okay,
Move adjourned.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.